Hey, so I want to make a video talking about the importance of tracking your miles if you're a gig worker, DoorDash driver, Uber Eats driver, Amazon Flex driver, rideshare driver, whatever. If you're driving as an independent contractor, let me show you why it's so important that you track your miles. And it's really simple to do this shit. Like you really, it doesn't, it's not rocket science. Um, Let me get that out of the way. I track my miles on Gridwise. I just made a video talking about Gridwise. I think that's gonna come out before this one, but let me stop talking here and just show you something here. So this is 2025. Um, the income isn't perfectly accurate. I think I've made a little bit more than that this year, but this is what's important here. So as you can see here, it says I've driven 14,528 business miles. And then if you look down at the bottom, it says that I have a mileage deduction of $10,169. So let's just say that my income was 41,000. My deduction is 10,000. That means a quarter of my entire income is tax free, right? So I'll be taxed on $30,000 and I won't be taxed on the $10,000. Now, okay, you're like, that's cool. I don't know what the hell that means. Okay, well, here's the thing. So if you're self-employed, which is what we are as independent contractors, work for DoorDash, whatever, you have to pay the entire Social Security tax, Medicare tax, whatever the fuck it's called. They call it self-employment tax. Um, 15.3% if I'm not mistaken. Whereas if you're a W-2 employee, your employer pays half and you pay the other half, so you only pay 7.5% roughly. Um, that tax, and I'm not a tax attorney, I'm not a tax anything. I literally deliver food for a living. Um, that tax doesn't get counted with the like everybody is like, oh yeah, we get a standard deduction, right? Everybody gets their standard deduction, whatever the fuck it is this year, like $13,000 if you're single or 25,000 if you're married, whatever. That's for federal tax. So you can deduct 13,000 of your income or whatever from paying federal taxes. But the self-employment tax, as far as my understanding, you're going to still pay self-employment tax on that money. So the self-employment tax is heavy because it's 15% of your money. So just the self-employment tax alone, if we open up a calculator here, I mean, we don't really need a calculator for this, but whatever. 10,169 times point 153. The self-employment tax that I'll be paying on this money would be $1,555. So that's $1,500 of taxes that you would be paying out to the IRS had I that I would be paying had I not been tracking my miles throughout the year. And we're only in October, so by the end of the year, it's going to be closer to $2,000 in self-employment tax that I would literally have to give away to the IRS for no reason. And that's not even including the money that you're saving on your federal and state taxes, right? I'm not sure. I think the state taxes, it's the same thing with the deduction. I'm not a fucking tax guy, but it's critical. So like for let's say you would have had to pay 20 25% on that money, that would be $2,500 that you'd be paying out in taxes that you literally do not need to pay. And all you had to do every day when you start work, you just had to go on here on Gridwise. Gridwise is free. I don't get paid for any of this shit. You could download whatever mileage tracking app you want. All you literally had to do is this. You had to go on your GoodWise, you had to click this button right here, track miles, and then turn it off when you're done. And then at the end of the year, you go to your insights or wherever the fuck you go. You go to your earnings and you go down here to 2025, and then you just go down right down there, and it'll literally have how many miles you drove. And when you go on TurboTax, you just put that shit in there and it gives you the deduction. And if you ever got audited by the IRS or whatever, you'd have all the records, because if you just click on any of these, it'll show the map of where you were driving and everything. So, uh, hopefully that makes sense. Deduction does not mean that you're going to save that much on taxes. Again, this is not tax advice. I deliver food for a living. I don't give tax advice for a living. Um, but this is just from one driver to another. If any other driver does happen to see this, um, the $10,000 deduction is that's how much of your income you won't be paying taxes on. So it's not that you're going to save $10,000 in taxes. You just won't pay taxes on $10,000 of income. Um, and again, that is money that you're literally giving away for free to the IRS if you don't track your miles. So, I hope that helps. If anybody has not been tracking their miles, that's okay. You can look up online. You might be able to, kind of make a rough calculation, because when I first started, I didn't track shit either. I didn't know that you needed to track. So, you might be able to make like a rough calculation to see like, okay, I drive about this much, blah, 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 and then try to, justify it. Hopefully you don't get audited. I don't know. Again, do your own research on that shit, but I think you could, even if you haven't been tracking it, if you make a decent estimate, I think you can still deduct that. But tracking your miles is free, and it takes like 12 like not even, it takes like 2 seconds per day. You just open up your app, click track, and then when you get home or when you finish your last delivery, you click that you're done. Um, and that's actually a whole nother topic is, can you count commuting miles from your last delivery to home? Which to me, I think if you are accepting orders along the way, I think that's fair game. But if you're just turning off your app, like if you complete your last DoorDash and then boom, you turn off your app and then you commute home, that is, as far as I know, that's not tax deductible. But I think it's justifiable if I have my Uber Eats destination filter, my DoorDash destination filter on, and I'm driving home. I think it's reasonable to say that I can deduct those miles, but do what you need to do your research, just start tracking your miles if you're not.